Hey guys, fucking Ernest has told me he's just gonna be a few minutes late. He's just on another call. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
Oh. Camera on Thomas, Muzni, Celine.
Okay, just give me.
How's everyone doing?
Good, mate.
Good.
By the way, Muzni, you have the green screen. I think I've never seen you using that green screen.
Yeah, I don't use it. I just use it to cover the background. I don't want to do sales calls in my bedroom.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, guys, is there anything particular that you will want to go over with, or do you just want to chat?
Go over the intro, maybe, like how you integrate those questions, maybe, or the pitch. Don't really mind any part of that. That's what I would say.
Wonderful. I've now mentioned three different topics.
Intro, let's say intro.
Well, when you say intro, do you mean the pre-frame or do you mean the intro?
The intro
There's,
process. So like the pre-frame, the questions, what you do basically before the pitch.
give me 1 second. I need to, before I forget, I need to put three links somewhere. So that's this one's fine here. So your camera is still not on. It's gonna happen today. Okay, while I'm finishing this, Moosey or Tommy, I don't really care who's gonna answer it. Do you guys know why it's important to, or why is it important to do the good introduction? What are the benefits?
To get relevant information that you might need to use in the pitch.
Okay, what else?
You could build pain, I guess, but that's also you kind of use that in the pitch, but you can get an emotional reaction out of them, make them feel some pain, and then use your pitch as a solution.
That most likely also depends on the prospect, due to the fact that you will also have people who are intellectual buyers. So if you're gonna try to pull pain on them, they're gonna kindly to tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah, sure.
Well, the fundamentals of a good introduction is basically, or the benefits of the proper introduction is simply establishment of authority. So whenever, for example, you're on a call with someone and you're gonna kindly tell them, if they're gonna, let's say, tell you they're not able to afford it, you're gonna be in a position where you can actually ask them, okay, so how much is in your bank account? Because obviously, if you will come, for example, to a random person on the street and you will say that, the likelihood of them telling you, go fuck yourself, is pretty high. Not unless if your introduction is pretty well done, you will be able to do that. But then when it comes to introduction, it's basically two important aspects. So introduction is basically separated into pre-frame. Pre-frame is super short. Pre-frame is, for example, you hop on a call and, hey, Musni, how are you doing?
Doing good.
How was your business today? Have you closed anyone?
Nah, just working.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Okay, nonetheless, look, how this call typically goes is I'm just gonna ask you a couple of questions, see where you are, where you want to go, and then on the basis that I have a feeling we are a good fit for each other, or that we are, for example, able to bring you from your current situation to where you want to go, I'd be more than happy to also walk you through everything we do. In the worst case, we're just gonna have a nice coffee chat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then it's the second part, which is the discovery part, which is super important due to the fact that in the discovery part, you're able to assess the prospect situation. You're able to gather relevant information, as Musni said, that can be either utilized as main pain points or can simply be utilized against the prospect that you're speaking with while in the sales process. Also, these informations are going to be something that you can, for example, tie down to certain parts of the sales presentation you're walking them through. And then obviously in the discovery part of the call, you're also more or less able to pre-handle certain objections. It also depends on what the objections may be. So, Musni, what is also important when it comes to basically the discovery part of the call?
Wait, say that again?
What is important, or what is something you definitely need to watch out for when you are in the discovery part of the call?
Not letting them take control, I guess.
Besides that, what do you need to watch out for in terms of something you definitely don't want to do, or what's important that needs to be done in a certain way, especially when it comes to you asking questions?
Make it seem like you're not reading off a script.
Yes. So if there is one law, how would you describe it?
Be conversational.
Yes. The last thing you want to do in the discovery part of the call is to have a piece of paper and make it come across as if you will just have a checklist of things you need to ask the person without actually having a genuine conversation. Because then...
You got to make it seem organic. Not
Well, it's not only that, it's more of a, if, let's say if we will be on the call and the only thing I will be doing is, so Muzni, how much do you make? Okay. So Muzni, what houses do you sell? Okay. So Muzni, what is the average listing price? Okay. Do you share it with anyone or is it yours? Okay. How many deals have you closed? Okay. Like if even with the small things you can have a conversation with, as an example, instead of asking the prospect directly, how much do you make? You can also utilize niche knowledge and say, for example, something in terms of, so Muzni, I'm familiar with the fact, especially because of our other clients, that in Texas, the average take home from a listing is 5 to 8%. How does it look like in your case? Or as an example, from all our other clients that are working in Texas or that were active in Texas, their average listing price was somewhere in between from 500,000 to 850,000. What kind of listings do you deal with? And then you're switching it from having a checklist of questions that you're just asking them for no reason, or even if there is a reason behind it, you're just changing it from a perspective of having an interview with someone where the person gets bored and they also have a feeling it's a fucking sales call, to having a genuine conversation in which you're still able to collect all the crucial information that you just simply need to be aware of in order to either just utilize it to more or less help the prospect and also to simply be able to, for example, calculate the ROI breakdown by that presentation. So let's do a role play. Thomas and Muzni, ask him questions. You can put yourself in a real estate. Thomas, I don't know how big your knowledge about real estate is. I don't think it's much. So just think about some random numbers when he's going to ask you. Or if you're not going to be sure, just ask me. I'm going to give you an answer.
Yeah, I'll try my best, yeah.
Okay. Should I just get straight into questions then? No,
Yeah.
saying the frame. Okay. Yeah, let's pretend I've done the frame. What have you done to get buyers and sellers in the past so far?
What have I done for buyers and sellers in the past? I don't know what to do for buyers and sellers in real estate. I haven't got a clue. I have. I don't know. Ernest, what would I say to that? I'm sorry, I've never.
The only way how I got buyers and sellers previously was from referrals. So basically, only my sphere of influence.
So I got buyers and sellers from previous referrals.
Okay. With those referrals, how many of them are you engaging with monthly right now?
80% of those referrals.
80%. So how many people are you referring? Like how many people are coming in from referrals right now monthly?
So out of the 10, I've got 8.
Okay. You've got 10 referrals and you're working with 8 currently. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, yes.
Okay, so you're closing about like 80% of these referrals, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and what does your process look like to like go from someone who becomes a
This is
referral?
bad. Stop, Muzni, you fucked up. Do you know why?
Why?
Due to the fact that you have not asked him about the closing rate, and you have just gave him an answer that he can throw at you, which was, oh, so you're closing 80% of those people, correct? Yeah. So on the basis that his number will be lower, he will be more than happy to just agree with you. So you will have a harder situation to figure out the numbers then, because afterwards, like in the call, yes, you will know the numbers. Like for example, what listing price is he dealing with? What is the take home? So you can then calculate also how much was he able to, for example, make monthly. But then it will be also very late till you will be actually able to confirm that, wait a second, your closing rate doesn't make sense.
Okay, I thought he said
Or
that
you're
he got 10 referrals though, and he was working with 8, so he closed 8. So
No,
8
but
out of 10.
no. But has he said that he has closed 8, or has he said he's working with 8? What if the two people
Okay.
just didn't like him as a human being?
Okay, I guess. I thought close would mean that you sign a contract and you start working with them. Like not as in you got them the deal yet.
No, like especially when it comes to real estate, I can have 10 realtors looking for one property that I'm looking for,
Okay, yeah.
and
That's
they're just
true.
gonna fight in between each other to figure out
Mm.
which one's gonna get the cut of the deal.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess I'd ask
Because
like
yes. Like you
Yeah.
you want to, especially when it comes to those kind of questions, you also want to clarify to be sure, but in a manner where they are gonna give you the answer, not necessarily you. Because the only thing you can give them numbers with is, for example, how much are they making? But then you also need to look at the reaction to be sure that, oh, that doesn't seem like it. Especially because like when it comes to realtors, they lie for a living.
Yeah, that's true.
So please
Do you
try
think
again.
what should I just ask like so you're getting 10 referrals every single month. How many out of those, how many deals are you closing per month typically?
Yeah. Or
Okay.
if you don't want to ask that directly, what you can do is, oh, okay, so how was it last year? Have you also been receiving 10 referrals per month? Okay, cool. So how many deals were you able to close last year? Okay, so last year you've been closing 8 deals per month. How does it look like this year? What numbers are we looking at?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'd confirm closing rate, then ask probably I'd be like, how do you convert like a mildly interested referral into a paying client with you?
Yes, you can just ask what is the process looking like. That's one thing. But then also one important thing that you have not noticed, granted it may be because Tommy is just unfamiliar with real estate, which is absolutely fine. But he has told you that 80% of his people are referrals. And you have never asked
Oh,
about the
okay.
20 outstanding.
Oh, I thought you said beforehand, just say all your leads are from referrals. I don't know if you said
No,
that.
you asked, no, you asked him and he said, yeah, pretty much 80% is referrals.
Okay, yeah. I don't think you would know if I asked the 20% though, it's like, okay, well, what are the other 20%? Where did they come from?
Yes, you just simply ask that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because then you want to have a clear understanding, because then, for example, let's say he's gonna say ads or something else. Cool. Then you clarify the referral situation, you have the numbers from that, and then you can go in the direction of ads because you're gonna understand his main source of leads. And then you, once that's established, so you know how much he's actually realistically speaking making, you can then go into the other direction and understand, okay, why is it, for example, not working, or why is it weaker than the referrals, and also what the closing rate on that is, because it's going to be a similar closing rate to, for example, your work or the people you're going to bring in. Obviously, dependent on what is that he's doing.
Yeah, okay, that
And
makes
then
sense.
with that, you will also be able to figure out on the basis that he said 20% is something else. Let's say it's going to be ads. Wonderful. Is he doing it himself? If yes, cool. You can make him understand that he doesn't know shit about marketing. Or he's working with someone else. Cool. How long has he been working with them? How much has he spent? What were the results?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'll clarify more, I guess. So,
Please try again.
okay, so you mentioned that 80% of your leads are coming through referrals. What would the other 20% be? Like, where are they coming from?
Adverts.
Adverts. Okay, so by that, do you mean like Facebook, Instagram, Google? Like, clue me in a bit here about where they're coming from.
Yeah, the other 20% from Facebook ads. Yeah.
20% from Facebook. Are you running those yourself or is someone else running it on your behalf?
Got an ad guy in the background running the ads. Yeah.
Okay, how's that going?
Um, yeah, it's all right. It's all right, I guess.
Hmm. How many deals have you got from that so far? And how long have you been working with them?
About 3 months and two deals in the past month.
2 deals in. Okay, so the first 2 months you didn't get anything, and the past month you've got 2.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you know anything about their adverts and like specifically like the cost per lead or how much you're spending?
M is not the word, wasn't he?
Yeah, I know, I was just thinking.
Yeah, but then just think in silence. There is no
Okay,
reason
okay.
for you to make a sound when you think.
Do you know the cost per lead?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm just winging this, to be honest.
Should I pretend he said an answer or should I pretend that he said he doesn't know?
No, that's fine. Then in this case, okay, do you know at least how much you're spending with them? If you want to, I can also calculate it out more or less how much it costs you to get a lead. So I can tell you if it's a good number or not, because as you know, I know marketing.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll probably ask Do you know how much you're spending per month on those Facebook ads with them, and how much you're spending with them as well?
$500, $500 a month.
So is that 500 on the ads or 500 on them, or on to in total?
It's 500 on the ads, and then $100 on top of that for the whole service.
Per month?
Yeah.
Okay, so about $600 a month. So you spent
Yeah.
about $1,800 in the past 3 months to get 2 deals. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. With those deals coming in, what's like the average listing price that you typically see?
I've got a clue. 30 grand.
I don't, that's not usually.
Yeah,
Let's just say
say 200,000 or 85,000. Now, granted, for 30,000, Muzni, you can buy a trailer.
yeah, but okay, I've never heard anyone say that. Should we just say 300,000 just to be easy?
Yeah, sorry, that was what I meant. Zero.
Okay. Typically here I'd ask about how many deals they closed last year, but you kind of already said that, so I don't know if I should.
How did he say that?
What do you mean?
When did he tell you how many deals has he closed last year?
Oh no, I mean you asked it earlier when you were explaining how I forgot which it was, but you were just explaining earlier, like ask how many leads, how many deals did you
Okay,
close
that's
last
what you mean.
year?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
currently you have established that. No, you have never established how many leads he got in order to close those 2 deals.
Yeah, but he said he doesn't know the
So,
cost per
so
lead, right?
yes.
He
So
probably
currently, what you know is he has been working with them for 3 months. He is technically speaking spent 1.8K on them.
yeah.
He got 2 leads that he was able to close. Okay, and his average listing price is 300,000. So what you want to do is, for example, ask. So look, Thomas. Normally, what we have noticed when we work with real estate agents in your area, the average take home on that is 3 to 8%. What range are you working with?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I
Because
should
then
do
you
that.
can calculate how much he has made with those 300,000, and then
Yeah.
you can calculate. Oh, okay, so this is how much you made. This is how much you spent. So how many leads they brought you in those 3 months? Because then you
Okay.
also want to understand if it was problem on his closing side or if it was problem from their side that he's just not received enough leads.
Yeah. How many leads are getting?
Especially
Then yeah.
because based on what he said, he's charging. They're charging him for service $100, and the ad spend is 500, which is a pretty low ad spend.
Yeah, that is. It's hard to get 2 deals with that. I felt like, especially with $100 agency. But let's just pretend that is the thing. I'd probably ask, how many leads are they providing you every single month with that service?
Yes. Or you can use it again. You don't necessarily. You can formulate it like this, but then you can also just have a conversation. Okay, so Thomas. So let me just summarize everything on mine, so we are both on the same page. Yes. So your average listing price is 300,000. You have said your 20% of leads that you're dealing with are coming from basically your marketing guy that you're working with. You are spending roughly $600 with them on a monthly basis. So how many leads did they brought you in the period of 3 months in order for you to actually close those 2 deals? Because then you're changing it from, so how many leads have they brought you, to you having a conversation with him.
Okay, yeah. All right, so I was forgetting the number. So the average listing price was 300,000 that you said. But we're going with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you spent about $18,000 in the past 3 months, and you've closed 2 deals.
Whoa, 18,000?
I
1.8,
mean, 1.8,
1,800.
yeah, 1800. The numbers are getting mixed up, but yeah, you spent 1,800 in the past 3 months. You've got 2 deals. How many leads did they bring you for you to close those 2 deals?
So say that again, sir.
Say it right.
How many leads did the agency that you're working with bring you in the past 3 months that resulted in those 2 closed deals?
How many deals overall?
Now, how many leads did they bring you from Facebook?
I've already said it was 2. 2 in the
No,
past.
that would be the deals. How many leads did they bring you? So people that you're speaking to.
It was 8.
So they brought you 8 leads in the past 3 months out of $18,000 spend, or $1,800 spend, sorry.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I'd keep that in. Would you mention like how bad that is, like on the intro process, or would you wait to the pitch and then mention it while you show your cost per lead?
You can technically speaking be like, what you can do is be like, wait a second. So you have spent 1,800 and they've brought you 8 people. Yeah. Is it an agency or is this someone you have hired? The reason I'm asking and the reason I'm generally confused is because your cost per lead is 225.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to do a dick measurement content, not unless I've never seen a CPL, which is cost per lead, higher than $15.
Okay. So you would mention it a bit in the intro, but you wouldn't mention your own cost per lead being like
No,
much better. Okay. You just mention how shit that is.
You can do it with genuine confusion because then he's gonna also ask himself, you know what, maybe that's actually high.
Yeah. Okay, that makes
And
sense.
also, you have made one mistake, which you have still never clarified. When he said to you he is a marketing guy, you have never asked him if it's an agency or if, for example, it's a marketing guy from his brokerage. Because some brokerages will actually have marketing team. Like, for example, let's say Tommy will have a team leader and he will be just in a group of a couple of realtors that the team leader is managing. Then there is a chance that the team leader will have a marketing guy and, for example, he's just taking money off Tommy to put it into ad spend.
Okay. Yeah. Should probably clarify that as well.
Yep.
Okay. So are you working with an agency currently, or are you working with, but by marketing guy, what do you mean specifically by that?
Oh, it's my internal guy who works for my business.
Internal guy in your brokerage, is that right?
That's correct. Yes, yes.
Okay. So he's charging you $1,800 in 3 months, getting you about 8 leads. With the 2 deals you did close, you mentioned the 300K listing price. What's like the average take home you typically see with that?
304.50.
As in like
He doesn't know what the
it's like
Tell me-
2% to 2 to 4%,
Yeah.
like is typical. You can say any number between 2 and 4, like percent.
3%. You said
Okay.
between 2. Yeah, 3%.
Yeah, 3%'s fine. Okay, so I'd probably make a mental note of all that. Would you repeat the maths on the call, or would you just make a mental note of that and then bring it back up on the pitch with like 3%, 300K?
You can write it down because
Yeah.
then when you're finished with the marketing side of things, you also want to calculate the things with his referrals to see if there is
Yeah.
any difference with that, and also if the average listing price that he's dealing with the marketing guy, if there is any difference with the referrals.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because even with the super high cost per lead that he currently has, he has still made $15,200 profit.
Okay.
No, 16.
What, you said 3% on 300,000.
Yeah,
9,000. So you mean like
16,200 profit, which is not the worst ROI.
you said 3% on 300,000, which is like 9,000. He's closed 2
It's
deals.
9,000 times 2, so that's 18.
Yeah.
18 minus 1.8 is 16.2.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense if you're factoring those costs as well. Okay, from here I'd probably just ask. Well, I'd confirm how many deals he closed last year, and then I'd ask him for his targets for the next 12 months, and then the main thing stopping him from getting there. I don't know if that's good.
Yes, you can go in that direction, yes. Or you can even ask him what is his goal for this year.
Would you not get what he got last year to just
Yes, no,
compare?
after you got what he has received last year, and
Yeah.
you can also calculate with that how much he was able to make monthly, and then what
Yeah.
his goal for this year is. And then you can also ask him, okay, so how is this year going so far, to take into consideration we are already in March.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'd ask how many deals did you close last year? And then Okay, let's pretend he answers. Like Thomas, what do you think? Like just make up a number, it doesn't really matter.
30 last year it was, I believe.
30. Okay. What are your targets for the next 12 months?
40.
40. Okay. Me 30 last year. What do you think that like the main thing stopping you from closing 40 deals last year, for example?
I think it was the internal marketing guy.
The marketing guy. Okay, could you be a bit more specific?
Well, we switched. We hired a new person because the other person was not as competent. Let's just say.
Okay, so what was the problem there? Were they not bringing enough leads? Was it unqualified leads? Like what specifically was the problem?
Yeah, the leads weren't as successful as since we changed it.
Okay, so would you agree that right now to get to your goal of 40 deals this year, you'd want more qualified leads in your pipeline?
Correct.
Okay, I just make a mental note of that and then use that in the pitch because he just agreed to that.
Yes. And
Yeah.
besides that, what you also want to understand is, for example, what is his max capacity? Because 40 deals are not a lot.
40 deals is not a lot.
No.
40 deals is massive, isn't it? Most agents I
No.
work with are like
No,
15 to
because
20
you
and they're busy as
no,
well.
but you need to no. It depends also what kind of realtor you're speaking with, especially because you need to take into consideration that his listings are pretty low. Like that's a
Yeah, 300K.
borderline entry listing when it comes to just buying a estate. Sano, do you
I've
know how
never.
much he's making per month?
What was that?
Well, you should already know it.
Wait, say that again. I didn't hear you.
Oh, do you know how much he's making per month?
Well, he said 30 deals, 9K each. That's about 270,000, or yeah,
It's
about
not
200.
about, it's exact 270,000.
Yeah, 270,000 divided by 12, like 2,000 something. But no, 20,000. Let me think, 3,000. About like 23K a year. Oh, not
22 and a
23K
half.
a year. Yeah, 22 and a half per month or something. Somewhere
Yeah.
around there. Yeah. From here, I'd ask. This is a question that I got from like Joel Kaplan's program, but I asked like,
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, how long have you been a real estate agent for? And then they say like 13 years, for example. And then I say, okay, so you've been a real estate agent for 13 years. So I'm just like curious, like what's driving the need to change your situation now? But I don't know if that's good.
It really much no. The question is not necessarily bad, but at the same time, it can very easy backfire because if Tommy is gonna tell you he has been in the space for 1 year,
Yeah.
you're gonna be fucked with that question.
Yeah, I typically only bring it up if they say it's like past like 2, 3, 4 years or something, then I bring it up and be like, what's driving the need to change the situation now to see if there's any like need that I can latch onto. Like if they want to change their situation right now, there's like an urgent thing, I can use that in the pitch. But if not, then I just kind of
It's a
skip that
very
over.
tricky question. It can very easily backfire. You can use it though, yes.
What,
But
what
at
do
the
you?
same time, you can also ask. You can ask this also at the beginning of the call.
Okay.
And if you will ask it at the beginning of the call, you can now bring it back. Okay, so last year you have closed 30 deals. Okay, so you have more or less made roughly 22,500 per month. Okay, fair enough. And the target for this year is 40. So taking into consideration you have been in the space for 2 years, what made you think to yourself, okay, I will definitely need to change something now? Was it that you were not able to hit the target last year, or is there anything particular?
Well, if someone just says, I'm always looking for new business,
Cool.
is there anything you'd expand on that or no?
What do you mean by new business?
As in, like, I'm always looking to close more clients and get more deals. I'd love to grow my business at any point in time.
Okay, so what will be your max capacity? Taking into consideration last year you have closed 30, this year you want to do 40. Is there any max capacity you can currently think of?
Probably like 60, let's say. That's probably the most I can handle in a year.
Okay, so why is your target for this year not 60?
Just gradually building up, I guess. I feel like there's a lot of things that are stopping me from getting to 60. I don't have the right infrastructure, like the time available to do 60, but if I got to 40, then I'd probably make more time for real estate and try and get to 60, I guess.
So is real estate your not full-time job?
No, it is my full-time job, but obviously I spend time with the kids. I spend time outside of work. But if I can get to a higher, like get to 40 deals, for example, that would be great, while I still have time with my kids and everything like that.
Okay, but then if we focus ourselves on the max capacity, which will be 60, what are you currently missing in order to achieve 60? Obviously, you want to spend time with your family. Cool, you can possibly do that when you hit 60. But then is there anything else that is holding you up?
Just not that many qualified leads, I guess. Like the more lead flow I get, the more clients I get, right? So I guess that's probably what I'd want.
Okay, so would you say that you need to currently change something in the process or add something to your process that you're currently having in order to get to 60?
Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. You have an opening.
Okay, that makes
Because
sense.
even if the CPL on the other person is bad, cool, he has still closed deals. That's the beauty of real estate. Like your CPL can be doctored, but on the basis that you sell a proper listing, like you can very easily break even or even make a ROI on it.
Mm, okay, that makes sense. Do you think a better question instead of that, like what's driving the need to change your situation now? Someone from Affluent Academy gave you this, but it's just like you could have done this 6 months ago. You could do this 6 months down the line. Why is now like the perfect time for you? I don't know if that's a good question though.
It depends very much on the scenario. Because at the same time, if someone is logical, he's just gonna tell you, "Oh, because otherwise my system is fucking gonna break."
Hmm.
This will probably only work on an emotional person, not necessarily the intellectual one.
Yeah, that'll probably be hard and realistic as well. Also, there's one more question. There's another one that someone from Affluent Academy told me to use. Is that if any point in this meeting you don't think we can help you, are you comfortable telling me no? And they say the reason for asking this is just at the end when they say I need to think about it, you just bring this back up and said you said you'd be comfortable telling me no, and I'm not going to take any hard feelings from that. But I just want to get a yes or no kind of.
Not necessarily, no. Because at the same time, if someone tells you, I need to think about it, it's a pretty easy objection to handle.
What would you say for someone who says I need to think about it? Just what do they need
You're
to think about?
wonderful, absolutely fine. Then Muzni, tell me what is it that you need to think about.
So I just want to do some research. I want to see if your agency's legit, see some of the testimonials you have. Just do some research to make sure this isn't something that I'm going to regret later joining.
Okay, absolutely fine. But then take into consideration we have been now on the call for over an hour, and I'm the only source of information you have. What questions would you have in order to clarify that?
I just want to make sure you guys are legitimate as a company, I guess. Like, do some research on social media.
Should I show you
Make
my
sure MOA?
memory of association?
I don't know what that is.
Good to know that you have never opened a company. MOA is a certificate you get when you open a company.
What, in the US?
In the US and the UK, I would say everywhere in the world.
The UK? What? I don't know you got a MOA. I've opened up a company. I just got an LLC,
you,
but
you should no. MOA is a certificate you get from company house when you register a company.
oh, maybe it's just in the paper mill. I
Yeah,
don't go through that stuff.
it's on your email. It should be on your email.
Email? I don't
Yeah.
think so. Oh, we'll check for that anyways. But I don't know what else. What would you just say? Oh, do you want to see my LLC or something? Like,
Yeah,
oh,
no. You can generally ask this question because it's a stupid answer, so it can be a stupid question.
okay. Okay, that makes sense. What if they say like I want to see some client details? Like I want to talk to some of your clients, make sure you guys are legit, you're getting the results you say you're getting.
That's absolutely
Um,
fine, Muzni. But then, would you consider yourself smart?
yeah, sure.
Wonderful. So, on the basis that you consider yourself smart, on the basis that I will, for example, connect you with one of our clients, independent if they are going to be previous clients or the current clients, you will be able to, for example, go to Facebook at Library or even utilize the guy that you're currently paying $100 per month to basically copy paste everything we do. Because as you've seen, this is a pretty easy thing to copy paste. Even if you don't have time yourself, you can use the slave that you have for $100 a month.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
So
I
do you
should
see
use that.
why I will not be able to do so? Because even
Yeah,
if, let's say, you will copy paste it, absolutely fine. Definitely you will not get the same results as we are, for example, able to provide you with. Nonetheless, you will definitely be in a better situation than you are currently at.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good. I normally just say something else. I say it's like we have client confidentiality because, for example, we have like 5 of these calls a day, and on 80% of these calls, people ask this exact same question. Now, if you were one of our clients, I'm sure you wouldn't be wanting to get 4 calls a day from our clients, or for the people in our sales call, and you have to sell our business for us. We're here to help our clients grow their business, not them grow ours. That's what I typically
You
say.
can
but
do
I
that
think
as well. You can do that. You can also do it my way, or you can even say something like, look, with all due respect, Muzni, we have NDAs in place, and by the end of the day, whenever I call my clients, it is all because of money. So if then, take into consideration, I have 12 of those calls a day, every single person will ask me the same question. I will redirect it to any of my clients. They will no longer pick up my phone with, with the happiness on their face, with the happiness in their heart, because it will no longer be about their money. It will be only about my money.
okay.
So
Yeah, that
do you
makes sense.
get do you get my point where logically speaking it doesn't make sense for me to do so?
Yeah. Okay. What do you think is better approach? Just say the copy and paste thing, or say the client's time, we need to respect it. We don't want them
It
having to
very
copy.
much depends on the person and more or less their beliefs or what's important in their life. So if, for example, someone says to you, if someone is purely logical, I think the copy paste aspect will be better, especially if you see on the call that this person thinks to themselves that they are smarter.
Yeah.
If someone is purely emotional, or for example, let's say he just wants to have time with their family and stuff like that, you can also bring that point and be like, look, if 12 other people that I'm speaking with on daily basis will contact any of my clients will not even have time to spend time with their family. So how would you feel on the basis that we will start working together today, and I will just redirect some 12 random realtors on daily basis that then they can ask you, how good am I?
Yeah.
Would
Okay.
you get annoyed and tell me at some point to go fuck myself because yes, I'm bringing you money, but at the same time you don't have time to spend time with your family and your kids?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Okay.
would you
That
be
makes sense.
happily answering all the phone calls just to tell how good I am so I can make more money off you?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It very much depends. Also, you can just simply test all the 3 options and just see which one you feel more comfortable with.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try that. I'll try the copy and paste one. I think that would be good.
Okay. Any other questions? Celine, Thomas?
No, it's my second call. So
Good. Celine?
No.
No. Okay. Guys, if I see you in 15 minutes, I see you in 15 minutes. If someone wants a link for the call in 15 minutes, feel free to message me so I can send it. If not, I see you later in 2 hours, or if not, then I see you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
See you.
Bye.